It's a pressing question in sports medicine these days. Should young athletes have their hearts screened? Mainstream cardiology won't yet endorse it, but screening centers are popping up across the country anyway, many founded by parents of fallen students. We're joined now by Dr. Jonathan Drezner, University of Washington family medicine professor and team physician for the Seattle Seahawks, and WSJ reporter Kevin Helliker to discuss. Thanks to both of you for being here today.
Thank you.
Kevin, I'm going to start with you. How many of these grassroots clinics have popped up?
There are more than 50 of them today in more than half the states, and this was something that virtually didn't exist 10 years ago.
And are they proving popular? Are they being used? Are kids coming in?
My understanding is that they could screen more kids than they're screening. For instance, they may hold a day-long screening at a local school with the capacity of 1,200 kids, and they're doing about 800, but the number's growing.
And these screenings are free, correct?
The screens are typically either free or very low cost.
Okay, all right. So Dr. Drezner, let me turn to you. What exactly are these screenings looking for, and why has mainstream cardiology been so slow to embrace them?
Well, the screenings are looking for underlying heart conditions that put kids at risk of sudden cardiac arrest and dying doing what they love, playing sports. And the reason that they're popping up everywhere is because the current screen and model that we perform in the United States, which is based on asking about symptoms and doing a physical exam, hasn't been shown to make a large difference. And so we're looking for better ways to detect conditions that are otherwise unknown and basically silent. About 80% of the kids that die from sudden cardiac death don't have any warning symptoms. And so if all we're doing is asking about symptoms, we're going to miss the majority of kids at risk.
And how big of a problem is this? How many young athletes die from sudden cardiac arrest each year?
I think if you're talking about middle school, high school, and college athletes, we probably have between 100 and 200 sudden cardiac arrest cases per year in the United States, about one case every 2 to 3 days in the U.S. And what we've been finding through new research is that this is much more common than once thought. And so probably 4 to 5 times more common than we thought 10 and 15 years ago. And so we're looking for better ways that we can promote athlete safety on the playing field.
And so, Kevin, you spoke to a lot of parents, I'm sure. Are they upset that this isn't sort of a mandated screening the way it is in Israel and Italy?
Well, I think that like cardiologists, parents are on both sides of the issue, and you can be. I mean, if you want to have your kids screened, then you're on the same side as the European Society of Cardiology.
But it does take a little knowledge. I mean, if someone's not telling you to get the screening, you've got to be a certain level of involved and educated parent to get it done.
I think that parents who have witnessed it happen, have seen it happen to a kid that their kid knew, they tend to be pretty clear that they want the test done. Right. And other parents, I think, tend to believe, oh, if this test were important, my pediatrician would have ordered it up.
Well, that's a good question, Dr. Drezner. Is there any reason not to do this test? I mean, are there any drawbacks?
I think just so everyone knows, what the test we're talking about is an EKG or an electrocardiogram. It's a non-invasive test. The critical point of conducting the test is that you have to go to someone who knows what they're doing. They have to understand how to interpret the EKG to tell the difference between perhaps pathological changes versus findings from just normal exercise. And as we grow a physician infrastructure that's capable of doing that, we can screen a lot more people. In college athletes, over half of Division I football programs already screen their athletes. We screen all of our professional athletes every year with an EKG. It seems that if we can identify high-risk groups in our youth athletes or high school athletes, that we should be providing the same service. It does provide a better screen. It allows us to meet the objective of the sports physical, which is detect these kids at risk before they have an event, before there's a tragedy. And by doing EKG, we can better meet that objective. And so as we grow that physician education, that infrastructure, I think we can provide more screens to other groups.
All right, Dr. Drezner and Kevin Helliker, thanks to both of you for being here today.